Hello and welcome to this short introduction video about Python on Wheels. In this video I just want to give you a short overview about the ideas behind Python on Wheels, what it is, what it's for, what it's intended for, and about the workflow if you use it. So what it is it's an generative web framework for Python. It's based on the ideas behind Ruby on Rails. It's generative, so it takes away all the boilerplate coding from you, and it also follows the convention over configuration principles, so you don't have to configure a lot, install a lot. You can just use the things that are there, and the goal is to give you a tool based on existing very good libraries there and tools there, to glue them together to give you a tool to really work on your application, your idea, and to develop that really quickly without to bother about all those configurations. How can I configure MongoDB? How can I access it? What driver do I need to install? What about default values, validation, authentication, migrations for SQL databases? I don't know. And this is the idea behind it. Python Wheels takes all this away from you, and you can just go ahead and make a working version of your idea very quickly, very easily. I hope that you think that this is the same, that you have the same feeling that I do about that. So it's generative. How does it work? Whenever you want to generate an application, you use the generate app script, and our new application, I call it video 1, and you can give it a path, and can be absolute paths, relative paths, whatever you want. And you also give it a view type. You don't have to render views. You can just have a server application delivering JSON, XML, or what. But whenever you want to deliver HTML, then you can choose in Python on Wheels between, at this time there are 2 frameworks supported, Semantic UI and Bootstrap 4. And default is Bootstrap 4. I choose this here. I could have left that out because it's the default, but I just want to show you that this is an option. So it generated the application, and I can find it here in video 1, in the video 1 directory. The recommendation is that you create a virtual env, and I really recommend it. It's not needed, but it's really better if you work with different projects, different requirements of the project. So okay, so now we created the virtual environment. We activate it right now, and then you can install the requirements of Python on Wheels, and these are in a requirements text. It was put into the same directory for you, so you can just use this small command, install -r requirements text. You have to do this only once for every application in the life cycle. So what we can now do is we can start a server. It's already a running environment, and we can use that. And what we see here is that the page we just see here is delivered by our own local system. So it received a GET request with a URI / and it invoked the index handler, and this is what we have as the result. So it works, but that's not what we wanted to do. We want to make the next killer application, and what's missing on the web, I think the great thing we can break the market with and make millions and billions of money, is to develop a to-do list, of course. So this is about the workflow of Python on Wheels. So what you do first is whenever you want to persist data, you generate a model, and we can choose a name. And we name this to do, and we can choose a database environment, and as you can see, we have lots of databases supported. We have SQL databases like SQLite, MySQL, PostgreSQL, MS SQL, Oracle, everything that's supported with SQL Alchemy. And also we have NoSQL databases, tinyDB, MongoDB, and Elasticsearch. And for this short introduction video, we choose a NoSQL database, tinyDB. I like it a lot. If you don't know it, please check it out. It's a great tool. As you can see, it's pretty easy. It's file-based. It's just on a file. You don't need no installation or anything like that. And you can throw just JSON in Python dictionary objects into it. Great tool, great thing for small applications. So this, we generate that model, and okay, PythonWheels says it's generated for us, and it's here in that directory. And now we just have a look at our generated application. Okay, this is video 1, and this is the structure of a PythonWheels application, and it's very, probably you know it from Rails or others. It's structured like things you know. So we have the database interface here. You don't need to touch it. Normally it's just for general database access of supported databases. You have your handlers here. We don't have any handlers right now. Actually we do, but we don't need to worry. We have models, and we just generated a model, and it's a tinyDB model. You see here Elastic, MongoDB, SQL, tinyDB, and we chose tinyDB, and here's our to-do model. And this is how it looks like. Pretty easy and simple. And SQL models would look the same, and Elastic models would look the same, and MongoDB models would look the same, because this is actually a server schema. And PythonWheels converts this schema to a SQL Alchemy schema, MongoDB, whatever you want. And you can use it also to use validation in your Python program. So that's not only a schema for the database interface, but also a schema which can use for validation and type checking in your Python application as well. So that's pretty handy. Okay, we made a model. So what we can do right now is use it. I use IPython as a Python shell, and we can say, okay, from video 1, models, it's in the tinyDB directory because it's a tinyDB model, and we named it to do, import to do, and we instantiate it. So, and now we have a model. What, as you can see, it's just as we said here. It has title, text, tags, and votes. Title, text, tags, and votes. And as you can see, it has, of course, you know it from Rails, the created add, ID, last updated, things that are generated for you. You don't need to worry about that. So what we do is we say title is a new to-do, and then we can use the upsert method, which inserts or updates depending on if the model is in the database already or not, if it's new. So, and that's it. So now we have something new. We have an ID. We haven't had that before, and you can make one more, but we don't. So you see, we can do it. What we also can do is we can say res t dot get all, and as you can see, we have a generator object, and we can iterate over it for lm in res print lm. And then we have it. Okay, so we quit that, and we say, okay, we want to have a handy web interface for our new to-do list, because we don't want our customers to use this IPython shell, even if it's great. I don't think that the user experience is so customer loved. So okay, what we need to do then is to generate a handler. That's a controller, and we name it to do. That's by convention. You name it the handler, which is responsible for a model. You give it the same name. That's convention over configuration, and then PythonOnWheels will find all the things automatically. And we say that's a tinyDB model behind it, because then it knows where to find that to-do model. Okay, done. And we can generate a scaffolding because we don't have any web views now generated for us, and we do that right now, and we name those to do as well. Again, that's a convention, and then if we generate views, again we can say which framework we want to have as the base view framework, and in this case we take Bootstrap 4 again. Even if that's a Bootstrap 4 application, we could choose Semantic UI, or if later on more are supported, you can choose between different ones, but now we choose Bootstrap 4. So as you can see, now we have a model, a handler, and views generated for us. I want to look at the handler, just give it a short view. You can find it in the handler. We have the to-do handler here, and what you can see is that's what PythonOnWheels generated for us. So if we don't say anything, we get a REST handler. That's probably what most of the people want to have, and with this decorator here, it generates all those routes, this REST routes for us without you having need to define them manually each individually, and it does what you expect. So if you have a get on the to do, it calls the list method. If you have a get on to do and an ID, it calls the show method. If you have a put on to do and an ID, it's update. If you have a post, it's create, and so forth. And you have the implementations here, pretty straightforward. It's all the same, no matter if you use SQL, NoSQL databases, whatever. It's always the same handlers, same methods, same everything. So you instantiate a model. Again, that's found by convention for you, the right model, and get a parameter ID for show. For list, you don't have one, is get all, and you just give it the data, and that's it. The views are generated for us in the views directory. We now have a to-do subdirectory here that was generated using this here. As you can see, it put in a to-do directory, and then we have the views for edit, list, new, page, and show, and that's what we have. So we start the server again, and don't forget we already created a to-do. So we go /to-do, and you see it's there, and that's the HTML UI you get with PythonOnWheels scaffolding. You can show the to-do, you can edit the to-do, so we can say we have 123 votes. So these are there. We can create new to-dos. I voted, and I give it a tag, and this is also nice, because by default we know that tag is a list type. I show it to you just in a second. Here you see tags, it's type list. Default is the empty list, and there is a config file in PythonOnWheels. we can configure some things. Normally you don't have to touch it at all, but what is here is that the list separator, for instance, is the white space. So if I use that, it just really made a list out of that for us without us worrying about anything. So if we quit that here and again start our IPython shell and see how that all looks in the command line environment, again the to-dos, we say res is t dot, there's no get all for, it's a generator object, so you can say for lm, okay, I say you can use next to just iterate over it. And now we have that, and we can say t1.tags, and you see it's a list, and it's really a list. It's not only pretending to be a list or a string looking like a list, it's really a list. So so if we say t1.append check, I think it's, yeah, we have a look at it, looks good. T1 up assert, and then we reload. Oh, okay, so we don't have a server. What I can do is source bin activate. I start the server again, try again, and as you can see, it's here, and we can have it here. You see it's here, has a list. We add a text. I don't know what to do. We update, go there. Check that again for lm in res, print lm, and you see that this is I don't know what to do, what we just added here. So you see, this is how PythonOnWheels works. I just give you one more example about the idea behind it, that it should be very easy to use and very handy about your common requirements, hopefully. What we can do is we can say, okay, we want to have for our to-do some sort of status, probably a common use case. And so I add a field here, status, and we say, and that's because we use Cerberus schemas, and I show you Cerberus, and Cerberus is really a library where you can define types and structures, and then also validate it, and that's pretty handy, because you have lots of validation rules, and one of those is allowed. So you can say, we can say for type lists or strings, we use it on a string here, we can say allowed, and then only certain strings or items are allowed on that, and we say, in this case for our status, allowed. We don't allow anything because people would name it whatever they want. We use it, it can be a backlog, work in progress, done, or needs review. So we save this, and then we don't change anything. I don't restore, don't do anything, just change the model. And if I go and create, you see that we have a new field, it's called status, and we have just what we defined here. We can use, okay, that's backlog. Okay, I go back. I don't even save, because what I want to show you is that I can use it on existing fields as well, and I can say, okay, this is a backlog, and I need to make things more easy. We update and go back, and then you see that this has a status, and I have finished that. This can be, oh no, this is work in progress, I think, to be honest. Okay, so as you can see, really works out of the box, pretty easy. Got your to-do list, can use lists, you can have all the allowed things there. We can check one other thing. One more thing. I want to show you one more thing, because I like it a lot, as you might feel. And then what can we do? We can say, okay, T2 is a new to-do. Again, look at the schema, T2.schema. You have it right there, and we have a constraint. So we have a title that cannot be longer than 35. So we say T2.title is 8, 9. So this is longer. So this is okay, but I can choose and this gives us false. So that doesn't fit. It says the validation just failed, and we can say, okay, so good is false, and val is a validator. Oh. Sorry, and then errors. And you see that the error is we just missed a constraint that the title max length is 35. So what we can do is to fix it and say, okay, we make a title that is just smaller. And is this good? Yes, this is good. So we can upsert it to the database. Again, just as you see this really live, here it is. Now it's here. So this is how it all works. One more thing. If you don't know what to do, you have the API call, you can, and then the model and everything shows you a nice API representation about the methods you can call. Comes right from the source code, uses the doc strings here, and that's it. Oh, you can of course delete things as well. I haven't shown you that one. So we delete this one, you see, so it's gone, and we can check it right here. Res is T. Do I have T? Get all for lm in res print lm, and there's only 2. So, but that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. If so, just download it. You can install it with pip from PyTest at this time. Here's the package, and yeah, drop me a line if you think it's good, or if you don't think it's good. drop me a line as well. I'm really open for any comments. I'm here at Python on Wheels. Hope you enjoyed. Good night.